Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight's subject is Ozzy Osbourne. As you recall, last July 5th, Ozzy did his last concert, a huge concert with Black Sabbath, a reunion of sorts at their Back to the Beginning concert. Of course, it wasn't just Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath performing. Ozzy also performed some of his solo hits, and a plethora of other bands played before Black Sabbath finally showed up for the finale. As a matter of fact, I've said it before, in my humble opinion, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith stole the show vocally, but did not steal the impact of Black Sabbath. Now, in a recent interview on the Dumb Blonde podcast, Sharon Osborne has given us more additional information regarding Ozzy's death. As most of you know, Ozzy died 15 days after he performed that concert, and Sharon has told us that when he went back to England, he had to go back into the hospital, and the doctors told him right then and there that if he did that show, he would probably die. Evidently, his doctors told him to extend his life, he would have to cancel that show. Ozzy replied with the following statement. He said, "Whether I die in 2 weeks or I die in 6 months, I'm still dying. I want to go my way." Now, Sharon went on to say, it's kind of bittersweet because, again, we knew Ozzy had sepsis earlier on last year, and very few people ever walk from that without losing a limb or their life. I can tell you that we've experienced that in our own family. My mother-in-law had sepsis in the hospital, and we were told that she probably wasn't going to make it. She won that battle and lived nearly 10 years after. But with Ozzy here, this was not going to be a prognosis that he could look forward to. Sharon went on to say, as soon as he got sepsis, the kids and I, we knew it was time. And then we went to England. He went into the hospital for a week, and when he came out, the doctors told him, "Ozzy, this could kill you." And he said, "I'm doing my show." And it was like, he went out like a king. He went out the way he wanted to. It was so quick, and thank God. And I knew when they were trying to revive him, I knew. I'm like, don't do it. Leave him. He was done. But again, he went out like a rock star. Now, as many of you know, I've been covering this story right from the get-go. I watched that concert. I bought tickets to watch it online. I covered that on the channel many times while that was happening. And I've got to tell you, I cannot believe that it's been basically half a year since Ozzy Osbourne drew his last breath. Now, we're going to talk about this story and some others to kind of make a point on my upcoming live stream. And of course, I stream on Saturdays and Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so adjust your time accordingly. We're going to talk about some of the most hated bands in rock and roll, and no doubt there have been times when many fans have hated Ozzy Osbourne. But you know what? When I think of Ozzy Osbourne, I don't see a hypocrite at all. And we're going to be talking about other artists who are in one way or another a hypocrite or are being hypocritical in their approaches as they continue to tour unto this very day with no new material. Ozzy Osbourne, on the other hand, had Patient Number 9, an album I own and absolutely adore. And he had future plans to keep recording. Remember, Ozzy Osbourne's voice wasn't in disrepair. He sounded good. He sounded good at that concert and was still interested, even though he could not tour in the future, to put out new music. You know what, folks? I grew up with rock and roll where every single rock star seemed like a gunslinger to me. As they've aged, some of them have maintained that gunslinger image, doing it their own way, continuing to write music, doing tours when they can, the whole shebang, and a whole lot of people are out there just touring their hits. They're not recording new music. If anybody on this planet had an excuse to just tour his past hits, it was Ozzy Osbourne. But he wasn't cut from that kind of cloth, folks. Now, it's true, Ozzy could be silly, and some people didn't care for his personality, Roger Waters, and others loved him no matter what. But the one thing that can always be said about Ozzy Osbourne is he loved his fans. You could see it in that last concert. His eyes, his face was full of emotion. And for those of you who were there live, he felt your love and he returned it in kind. All right, folks, a real quick video tonight, but I saw this article and I just had to make a video and make some of my thoughts known. Ozzy Osbourne is a rock and roll legend. Nothing can tarnish his legend. Not even Roger Waters and his ill-timed comments after Ozzy's death. And I'll compare Ozzy's very last studio album to anything that somebody like Roger Waters has produced over the last 10 years. On that album, you have Jeff Beck, who has passed away, Ozzy, who has passed away, and the drummer for the Foo Fighters. Those are some of the very last recordings of him. Not to mention Zakk Wylde, Eric Clapton, and a ton of other rockers with brand new material. If you haven't heard this album, it's time to get it. I, myself, purchased a special edition of that album in absolutely clear vinyl. I've always been a Black Sabbath fan, but never really followed too closely Ozzy in his solo career. But with that album, I became a fan of Ozzy the solo artist and am now going back to get his better albums from his solo career. Which leads me to my question to the tribe, folks. How do you view Ozzy Osbourne and the way that he chose to go out? Should he have played it safe and spent more time with his family and friends who loved him and wanted him to still continue to live for as long as he could? Or did he do it right? After all, most of his life was in the spotlight, and if he needed to go out, he might as well go out in the full glare of that spotlight. You guys, let me know. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to ask you guys to give it a thumbs up. That helps with views, you know, and the more thumbs up you get, the algorithm spits it out to more people. Let's get the word out on this guy. And if you haven't subscribed to this thing we call the tribe, you ought to do so. It's so damned easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon. You got to do that, right? And you too will be notified of all my future videos in the coming future. And always remember this, folks, but don't tell anyone. We are the tribe.